If you want to take the guessing work out of the game this year in your Facebook ad accounts for your e-commerce brand, this is the video you're going to want to watch, because I'm about to share with you the perfect Facebook ad campaign structure in 2024 that will crush it for you this year. I mean, I've spent over $5 million in the last 12 months on Facebook primarily through this campaign structure and generated close to $15 million again just with this campaign structure in the last 12 months for our clients at pitadvertising.com. Now, if you don't yet know who I am and you're new to the channel, my name is Justin. I'm the founder at pitadvertising.com, an online marketing growth firm helping elevate thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. So let's get straight into today's video. The perfect Facebook ad campaign structure for 2024. So at the campaign level right here, it's quite simple. You're going to want to have one campaign per market, country, region, or offer. I'm going to specifically talk about purchasers or sales campaign if you want in this video, assuming that again you are an e-commerce brand wanting to crush it for your brand. So one campaign per market, country, region, or offer. In the example below, I've got two campaigns. Why? You can see I'm advertising essentially the same market, Australia, with the same product, Pretty V, but I'm actually split testing a different landing page with a slightly different offer. So product page versus collection page, slightly different layout. So I've got one campaign in this case per country / market, region, or offer, which makes me two campaigns in this example. You're going to want to set the budget, the CBO, or now commonly referred to as Advantage Campaign Budget, and select a manual sales campaign, because now whenever you click create a new campaign and you want to do a sales campaign, it tells you, do you want to do an Advantage Plus or a manual campaign? In this case, we want to do manual. So I will give you some context throughout this video as to why that is the best setup, and not just tell you copy this and succeed. I want you to know the theory behind it and why this is the most optimal campaign structure. So all in all, the reason we're creating campaigns like this, one campaign per market, country, region, or offer, is to simplify the ad account. We want to have as little as possible campaigns on an ad account. We want to keep it as lean as possible to make it one, easy when you optimize, two, easy on the algorithm when it optimizes your ads. Now, number two, at the ad set level. So whenever you create a new ad set, you're going to want to do the following three things. So number one, you want to turn on dynamic creative. So this little toggle that you see right here, you want to turn this on at the ad set level. You'll want to set your targeting to broad. So I have an example right here for that same exact campaign I just showed you. This here, the only targeting that I have is locations, Australia and New Zealand. Age is left completely open, 18 to 65, and gender is put to woman. I don't have any interests, any lookalikes, any exclusions, nothing. All languages are selected, only location, gender, and age are selected right here. So going back, I want to make sure essentially that one of my campaigns like this, the only thing I limit is demographics and location. Because now, once again, talking about simplification, when you test different audiences, when you test different interests or lookalikes and such, you add complexity on the account. So that's number one. Number two, you narrow down your audience, which means you remove potential buyers from your audience. Number three, you believe that somehow you're smarter than the algorithm. I'm talking about right here, this is mostly an evergreen account structure. I get asked oftentimes, does this work also for like one-time promotions or like 3-day flash sales and stuff? No, this is best for your evergreen collection, the one you'll continuously scale every month, every day, no matter the holidays or whatever's going to be happening. Your core or heroes collection is what you want to advertise with a campaign structure like this one, which usually is where you scale, right? You scale through having your heroes collection. So going back to the ad set level right here, setting your targeting to broad. The last point as to why you're setting the targeting to broad is because now if you have a simple campaign structure, you have very simple targeting. You put the pressure at the creative level or the ad level. Facebook has said many times now that their AI is smart enough to understand everything there is to know about your ad. It has a bunch of data points about the ad creative itself, about the landing page, and it analyzes that to match it with the most likely to convert person in the audience. And the creative does the targeting. The creative, the desire evoked, which I'll get to in a second, through your ad creative is what will make sure that your ad finds its way to the right person within this broad audience. Because I'm going to give an example, right? A broad audience would typically have, let's say in this case, about, let's just say 5 to 10 million people. If you narrow it down to an interest-based audience, you might have 1 to 2 million people. But number one, does that mean that the entire 1 to 2 million people is interested? Probably not. Number two, in the 5 million people, does that also mean that all the 5 million people in a broad audience are interested? Neither. But could you perhaps have 2.5 million people in this broad audience interested? Sure. And are you most likely to have the total amount of interested people in this broad audience versus in a narrowed interest? Sure. You're making sure that whoever is going to be interested in your ad is in the audience. You can never then rely on the excuse of having, I have the wrong audience, or it's not the right targeting. You know for a fact it is, because anybody who can possibly want to buy your stuff is within that audience. typically when you go broad, you have lower CPMs because first of all, there's more people in the audience, but also you leave more control to the platform. The more control you leave to the platform, the better your ad costs again, usually. So ad level, what you want to do is the following. I'll show you an example in a second. I'll switch slide, but 3 creatives, 2 ad copies, 2 headlines. All 3 creatives must be of the same type with very close resemblance and 1 isolated variable. Again, I'll show you in a second. Ideally, the hook. I'll get back to it. So this is an example of a DCT built for one of our customers. You can see here, 3 creatives, all of the same type. They're all videos because I get asked sometimes, can I put some photos and videos together? You want to put all videos as an example in this case. So 3 videos that I have right here. All 3 you can see just by the thumbnail, they're all the same. The one thing that changes across all 3 of these videos is this part right here, the textual hook put at the start, right? My man is literally addicted to me here. And you would have a different one. You can see it actually just right here with this little thumbnail. This is a longer text and so is this one. So just to show you essentially right here that we want to have 3 creatives, the same ad, all of them. So this, think of it as one ad and it's a one concept. One DCT or dynamic creative test equals one ad equals one concept, which equals one mass market desire or angle. Okay. So as an example, let's say I'm advertising for dentists. Okay. And I want to use the mass market desire of boosting one's confidence. I want to feel more confident and I'm selling Invisalign as an example. And again, that's not even e-commerce related, but I think it's a good example for you to understand it. So I want to feel more confident. So then I'm going to do one concept around feeling more confident with an Invisalign. I'm going to create 3 times the same ad, slightly tweak the headline or hook of this ad, but all 3 of the hooks are going to be about the same desire, which is wanting to feel more confident. Just 3 variations of a same desire. So 3 creatives, 2 pieces of copy and 2 headlines you'll want to have right here. Which what you're doing is you're creating like an umbrella. You're basically going, okay, Facebook, this is my campaign. This is the demographics and geographic or where I want you to look into people. I know that this gender and age in this location are interested in my product. Now, I'm leaving you to figure out who exactly that is, but here's my ad bundled under a dynamic creative test within one ad set. So you have essentially this ad right here, which all of the variations I'm giving you about this same ad are all related to the same desire. Therefore, you're kind of tunneling the vision of the algorithm. You're tunneling its vision and making sure that it's not kind of going across and trying to find, you know, a bunch of different people. Because I've seen DCTs used right here with like 3 wildly different ads, a bunch of wildly different ad copies and completely different headlines. You're just confusing the algorithm. You're throwing different personas or different desires at it. And it's like one ad now is catered to a bunch of different people. If you're relying on your creative to do your targeting, your creative has to be laser focused, which is what we're doing right here. Now, in your scaling and iterating. So what you can do, and I say that in italic because I'll explain in a second. What you can do is you can extract a dynamic creative test winning combination by looking at a breakdown by dynamic creative element. So I'll show you right here and I'll go back in a second. You can then go to breakdown right here. So what you can do is you can come right here, click on this button. You can click on breakdown and then go all the way at the bottom to dynamic creative element. And then you would be able to show essentially by, in this case, like image or video. So in this case, those are my 3 images, right? V1, V2, V3. You can look at it. Which one spent the most? I mean, clearly Facebook seems to have preferred this version in the middle. Not only has it preferred this version, look at it. It has the highest ROAS. So clearly this version of my dynamic creative test is outperforming the other 2. It's very interesting to understand that as a marketer, right? 3 like very, very similar ad can have wildly different results, as you can see right here. And now this one is a clear winner. It has a much lower CPM, as you can see right here. So meaning it targets newer audiences for the most part. It is better conversion rate, better ROAS. So ultimately that is like a clear winner, as clear as it gets if you want. So then you can do one of 2 things. Either number 1, extract that into a separate ad set. This combination will have its own post ID, which just like any existing ad, you can take this post ID, move it into a separate ad set and have a more of a regular account structure where you have one ad set with a bunch of unique ads in there, which are all based on previously winning ads, which in this case would be a post ID from here. Okay, that's one way to do it. Or you could simply let the DCT run. Why? Well, look at it right here. The most or the bulk of the ad spend is going to the winning combination anyways. The other 2, are they below KPI? No, they aren't. In fact, they're acting almost like creative differentiation if you want. They're just slightly different variations of the same ad. So they get shown not that often. They're not really wasting that much of our spend. This ad is pretty efficient in its own way. So I could simply let it run in its own dynamic creative test if I wanted to. So in some cases, extracting the post ID, actually I've seen it becoming like a negative factor to the performance of this same ad. So it performs great in a dynamic creative test. You extract the winning post ID, you move it to a main ad set, and now you have like a bunch of winning ads in there, but then suddenly your ad tanks. The performance just drops dramatically. likely. Which again, here there's no right or wrong. I'd recommend you test either or of these structures. So either having like 2 dynamic creative tests running at the same time, 1 main ad set where you just keep extracting the winning post IDs of any of your 2 dynamic tests that are ran. Every time you extract a post ID, you turn off the dynamic creative test and you launch a new one, or you simply launch a bunch of dynamic creative tests within a same campaign. You kill off the ones that don't work and keep the ones that work live up and running, which basically at this point, it becomes almost like a manual Advantage Plus shopping campaign with just better bucketing and control, meaning like you bundle up or you bucket together creative of a similar type or similar concept. So you organize it, your ad sets become more like a folder at this point. Now, whenever you launch a new dynamic creative test, wait about 48 to 72 hours, so about 2 to 3 days, then optimize. You always want to give it a little bit of time, unless I'd say if CPM is completely out of whack. I've seen that happen a couple of times where if within the first 6 hours of you launching a dynamic creative test, if your CPM is like 2-3 times above your usual KPI, I simply duplicate the DCT, kill off the one that has like a crazy CPM, and usually it'll recalibrate itself. Sometimes it just happens that like it just goes out of whack at the start, but as long as CPM is good, let it run for about 2 to 3 days and then make media buying decisions. So in this case, if it's within KPI, within a 7-day period, which in this case, if it's only been 3 days, then you only look at 3 days. If it's been longer than 3 days, you always look at the previous 7 days. Every day, look at the previous 7 days. If it's within KPI, increase it by 20%. If it's below KPI, you either maintain or descale essentially by 20%, right? So you either descale by 20% or you maintain it and wait a couple more days to see if performance is going to increase or move in any other direction. Now, in this case, if I look at this V1, right, this version 1 of a same ad creative, so DCT 45 in our example, I've got this V1, 2, and 3 of a same creative. V2 or V1, I should say, sorry, is clearly outperforming the rest. So I would look at V1. What is unique about this ad, right? What was the hook? What was essentially the body of it? Did we use a specific content creator for it? What was the desire? What was my market awareness level used with this ad? And I'll try and use all of those same building blocks into building a new creative, which I would call an iteration, and launch it into a separate DCT. You can change as little as 1 variable. So I could pick the same exact creative, change the CTA as an example, or I could pick the same exact creative, try a different hook once again, or you can try some bigger variable. Like as an example, same script, same exact DCT, but I hire a completely different content creator. That is an iteration of a winning ad. And this is how I structure my Facebook ad accounts for evergreen/heroes collection campaigns for my e-commerce brands this year. Now, if you want to partner with a paid advertising partner that is badged on Meta, Google, and TikTok, click the link down below and book in a call to speak with our team today. With that said, if you want to learn more about our advertising techniques, I'll also drop the link down below to our free school community for you to learn more. And I'll be wishing you an amazing day. Check out other videos of the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips, and I'll be seeing you in the next video. Peace.